Okay, you're welcome to this amazing video illustration for the style that is actually pinned to this tutorial. So in that style, you can see that this is just a rough sketch. You can see that it has a flare. This flare is about 180 degree. You can, if you want for extra fullness, you can do 360. But the main point is this part. So you have your halter neck. If you notice, it did not start from your neck points. It came down by some inches. So I'm just going to tell you, and then around here, you can find that there's no dart on the body, there's no bust dart, there's no waist dart. All the darts have been transferred to this point. So I'll just show you quickly how this can be achieved. So I have here my simplified Nathaniel Brace method of pattern drafting, making has your waist darts and your shoulder darts, then front and back to this mid. This is where the dart is being transferred to. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to move all the darts, this shoulder dart now, I want to move it to my waist darts so I can start properly. And I'll do that by making sure that both darts meet up first before we proceed to anything. So I'll make sure that it gets to this point and this point here. So I'm going to move this dart to this part. So let's open up. Let's open it up. I just want my shoulder part to just be on its own without, so I'm going to slightly move this so that you can see me closing up the darts. Create a crease, then fold it over like this. They come here and then close properly. Because of how well I have drafted this pattern, I don't need to blend up here. It's perfect like this for me. So the next thing I'm going to do, this is what I've been able to achieve with this. So I've closed it up. So like I said, from the image 1 inch downwards from my neck points, and then if you watch closely from the picture as well, you can decide to stop around here. You can draw your neckline to stop around here, like draw it like this to stop around there. But because of the design we are working on, I'm not going to be connecting it here. I'll come down by here. You can come down by 1 inch. On an actual human being, I'll come down here by ½ inch. You can come down by 1 inch when you're making it for your clients or you're experimenting. So I'm just going to draw this like this way. So I'm going to draw it this way. Can you see? This is what I'm going to do. But right now, so if you do that, remember to take the circumference here, because you're going to use it to cut a neckband that would extend to the back and then you tie it. So if you leave this way, it's going to definitely gape. If you leave it this way, it's going to gape. So what I use to tighten this point is what I use from 0.25 to 1 inch, depending on how full the person's bust is. But for this is a miniature, so I'm just going to use 0.25. For you, use ½ inch. So I'm just going to tighten it around here a bit. When you draw your gaping darts, make sure you close it up. This will help you make your halter neck, the armhole to be well seated. If you don't do this, your armhole is going to gape. It's going to be looking so loose around the armhole area. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to try to close it up. You can just pinch it actually, but I don't want to do that. So you just overlap it this way. You can take it over like this and close it up. So, and then close it up. Like place it properly over the other, and so let's just cut this all through so it doesn't give us a problem. So make sure that your bust point part is aligning, and then you seal up. So if you notice, after I close that dart, this line has shifted. This style line I drew has shifted. So we're going to redraw it. We're going to redraw it again. So this is what we have. So because I told you that this dart was moved, the dart here was moved to the shoulder, we are going to draw in some lines because we're trying to transfer this dart to give us gathers around this point of the dress. So I'm going to draw one, making sure that it's touching the bust point. Draw another one here. Draw another one maybe around here. You can do more depending on what you want. You can just make sure that it's coming out from here. So I think this is okay for me. These three lines that I've drawn, because I want to transfer it. So this is 1, 2, 3. So we're going to be closing up this waist dart. Remember, this is also a dart. From this point is also, these are our dart starts from here to here, right? So for this part now, I'm going to transfer this. But let's go to the back before I finish. Let's just go to the back before I transfer this particular dart. So to the back now, you come down by the same amount. This is 1, this is ½ inch, but on your own pattern, your actual pattern, come down by 1 inch or more, depending on how exposed you want. You're just going to come down by that same distance here. So for the dress, what they actually did was you just get this, get a rope. From here now, you an extra extension paper to just add to this side, so that cut it like this. If you're going to put a zipper, that's when you're going to cut, and then you're going to tighten. If you want to use a zipper on this, you're going to tighten here. But since there is no zipper, you just cut this and add more, like add extra, like let's say something that you can tie at the back. Maybe the width can be 20 inches, 30 inches, depending on how long you want it to be. So now we'll go back to the front. The front, since I've done this, I'm just going to cut out this pattern so you can see what I have. Transferred the waist dart and the shoulder dart that I had on this to my mid neck. Bring them together so that you can get the best of what you want to do, right? So make sure that they meet and then you cut. Can you see what I'm doing? So make sure that you lift, maybe lift here and then go to the next part. I did not put glue here, that's why it's not staying. So I've pushed it to this part, so you take it and come to this part as well, the last part, right? So this is what you're going to have. So I've successfully brought all of it together. The next thing you're going to do is to cut. This will give you uniformity, look at it. So this will give you uniformity when you're trying to make your halter neck, right? So all you just have to do, cut it this way, right? And then gather it. Place it on your pattern, place it on your fabric, add like ½ inch around here, and then that is it. So when you place it on your fabric, suppose it's going to lay flat, right? So you're going to use that to, then you add ½ inch around here and gather, run a gathering stitch and gather. So once you gather, it's going to come back to like this. It's going to be this way. So you have gathers here. And then what you're going to do is I told you to measure. I'm going to cut this off. I told you to measure, right? That you should measure your neckline at first when you started. So you're just going to cut a strip of, maybe you measure it, whatever circumference you get at the neck. You add some other inches so it can add it up to your dress. So this is what you're going to have. So it will literally just push up here to push up this area so your bust area is accommodated into the dress. Do you understand? So for the back now, you're going to cut it. I like to label this part so I don't get issues. This is your side back and this is center back. Now you are going to just ignore that dart. You're going to ignore the darts. You're going to just ignore that dart. You just add it up. So what I have now is this. You mark at least 1 inch around here and then draw the same line that I told you about, like this, to meet your 1 inch mark, and then you cut off. Because I have to take a closer look before doing this. So it depends on how, if you want it really open. So remember, there's a joining at this side, so meaning you're going to add your allowances, 1 inch allowance here. You're going to add ½ inch here to extend to that rope that you're going to put. You're going to also use ½ inch here. So what you do, you stitch your rope from that end to here and notch, so you're going to be able to attach it to your skirt area, and then this side as well. So you can decide to line your skirts. Lining it will help you finish up the part that has a zipper. So you put 1 inch here, you put your ½ inch here, your center front is on fold, here is opened. So you're definitely going to add your allowances around here and gather it. After gathering it, you has your collar that you've made, but your collar has rope, so you can decide to cut that goes round. And that is all for this tutorial. Please, you can drop your comments on what you think, and I'll definitely answer your questions. So this is how it's going to be. Remember, here will be gathered. Just run a gathering stitch here and you're good to go. I remember what I said, add your allowances here too, and then cut your 180-degree flip.